That brings me to this week's California story. And we're doing a part two of last week. Last week's California story was how I made it to California, why I ended up from Michigan to California. And if you remember, I went from Michigan to New York to California. I never thought I would live in California ever in my life. I kind of wanted to live in Los Angeles when I was a kid. Well, maybe in high school, thinking I wanted to live in a bigger city because the town I'm from was 12,000 people. Now it's 8,000. When I moved away, it was 1988, and there were 12,000 people here. It's crazy. So I forgot some of the fun bits of the story of how I moved there, or my first few days there, really. Getting around LA was huge. It's like 469 square miles, the city of Los Angeles, and it's really weird because there's certain pockets within Los Angeles that are not Los Angeles. Like Burbank is not part of Los Angeles, but Van Nuys and North Hollywood, which are right next to it. Is North Hollywood part of Los Angeles? I don't remember. But Van Nuys is right there, right next to it, and that is. Glendale's not part of Los Angeles either, the city of Los Angeles. They're their own. Burbank and Glendale are their own city. I think North Hollywood is. I don't know. I don't know. But anywho, I'm going to put some pictures of the best map if you live in Los Angeles before GPS. You know this map. It's called the Thomas Guide. It's like a huge, really thick book of maps of LA, and they pare it down into just teeny tiny street. Like one page is like a few city blocks, and it has a index where you look for your street, and then it tells you what page it's on, and then that particular street has a number and a letter, and then you find that number and letter where they correspond, and there's your street that you're looking for. It was amazing. Anyway, so the first day that I was in Los Angeles, I went to work for the day. I was staying with my boss and her family for the first month while I looked for my own place because Warner Brothers did not pay for me to move to Los Angeles. That's fine. And I was really grateful that I was able to stay with them. They had a little bit of money and had bought a house in Bel Air, California. That Bel Air where that Fresh Prince is from. It was a great house too. It was crazy because they had all these beautiful antique furniture and it was like a modern house, so it looked like some sort of museum. It was weird. Uh, so my boss, she's at home that day. She calls me and said, "Hey, I went to the grocery store, but I could not find Hellmann's mayonnaise. Can you stop and get me some Hellmann's?" Sure, I can do that. So I stopped at Ralph's. I found a Ralph's and stopped there on the way home. It's like out here. It's Kroger stores. They're owned by Kroger's. So I go to Ralph's. I go to the mayonnaise aisle, and I can't find Hellmann's either. But I see this packaging that looks exactly like Hellmann's, and I pick it up. It's Best Foods. I turn it around, and it says, known as Hellmann's, east of the Rockies. I don't know why she couldn't figure that out herself because seriously, the packaging is exactly the same. So I got that. I'm trying to find her house. I did not have my Thomas guide yet because it was my first day that I was there and I had no idea. I just had little directions on paper that I had printed out. I I'm sure we had the internet then. I don't remember. It was what? 1990, no, 1994. Oh yeah, 1994. Oh my gosh, I don't know why I can't remember this. I moved to California the November after that big, huge earthquake. So it was 1994. I don't know if there was internet. There probably was. I don't remember. Um, well, we had email, so there had to be. I'll be dumb. So anyway, I'm trying to find her house with mayonnaise in tow and whatever stuff I had in my car that I was driving across the country with. I think I had a television in there. Maybe. I don't remember. In case I found an apartment and I didn't have my furniture because my furniture was not coming until the end of the year. Their furniture was not being delivered until like New Year's Eve day. No. Yeah, New Year's Eve day, December 31st. Anywho, Long story, long story. So I'm driving around trying to find her street in Bel Air, and I just cannot find it. And I come upon the Bel Air Country Club. So I go up to the security guard. And mind you, this is a Monday. I've spent my entire life on the East Coast in East Coast time zone. The guy is watching Monday Night Football at 6:15 p.m. on a Monday. And I have no idea. Oh, I'm like, how are you watching Monday Night Football? It doesn't even start until 9 p.m. And he looks at me like, lady, you're stupid. He's like, on the East Coast, it's live here. I'm like, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense now. I loved that about California because all the college football games were earlier. I mean, every one except ones on the East or the West Coast. Sometimes those did start later, but generally, all the sports was done for the day. And then, like the Academy Awards, I worked at a film studio. That's like a holiday for us. We would get out of work. It was on Mondays when I started there. We would get out of work at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, one or two, depending on your boss. And so we could go to parties or just go home to watch it because traffic was horrible. You did not want to, I did not live near Hollywood anyway. Well, it was just over the hill, but I would not go anywhere there. I was living in Van Nuys at that time, and I had some friends that I would go to their houses for, to watch the Oscars. But that was fantastic because the Oscars started at 5 p.m. on Mondays. And like I said, we had the afternoon off. And they'd be done by like 8, 9 o'clock, depending on how long they went on. That was lovely. I could be home asleep by 10 p.m. It was wonderful. That was just my favorite thing. I hated it when they moved the Oscars to Sunday because then we didn't get the day off anymore because we were already off. Anyway, that's my California story, part two of moving to California and my first day there.